guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. But in case this is the first time you're stopping by, my name is Gina and I'm a wife and mother from the Midwest, and I enjoy cooking fresh meals for my family, and sometimes I film videos of the recipes and I post them here on YouTube. Today it is a lazy Sunday here. It is October while I'm filming this, so it's a little bit chilly and I just feel like having some pasta because tomorrow I will be back on my diet as usual. Every Monday I start a diet. Every Monday. But anyways, so I decided I'm going to share my recipe for pasta and tomato basil cream sauce, and this is a recipe I debated whether or not I wanted to share it here on YouTube because I feel like it's the recipe that's going to make me famous someday. It is so easy and so delicious, and everybody who eats it absolutely loves it. So that's why I wanted to jump on here and talk to you face to face about it. So in any case, let me go ahead and gather up my ingredients. I'll get everything out and we'll go through them like normal. So sit tight. Okay, so our ingredients are super simple and easily available anywhere you want to buy them. Obviously, I went shopping at Aldi's this last week, which I love because I don't know about you guys, but the price of food over here in Chi-Town is like cray. It has gone up. I used to spend like $150 a week, including like multiple nights of meat entrees. And now I'm spending like $200, $250, and we're like scarcely eating meats. It's just crazy. So anyways, back to the ingredients. We're going to be needing, for our flavor base, a small onion. We're going to use like 4 or 5 cloves of garlic here, probably equivalent to about like 2 tablespoons when it's chopped up. We're going to need some diced tomatoes. We're going to need a can of tomato sauce. This is honestly not my preferred brand of tomatoes. I really prefer Muti brand, or Red Gold or something else, but this is what I have right now, so I'm going to use those. We're going to be using some heavy whipping cream to make it into a cream sauce, so we'll probably use about a cup of this. And then our seasonings are just very simple: a little bit of oregano, a little bit of basil, some Himalayan pink sea salt, and then some good butter. This is Aldi actually came out with their own Irish butter, and it's really good. It's very similar to Kerrygold, so I was pretty happy about that. So we're going to use that just in finishing. And then, guess what I forgot? As usual, going to need a little bit of extra virgin olive oil for sauteing our veggies off at the beginning. I may or may not choose to add a little bit of black pepper or white pepper. That'll be totally up to you. I don't know how I'm feeling about it. And then, oh, I forgot to mention pasta. Whatever shape pasta you guys like. I like to use either penne or rigatoni for this. Farfalle is okay too. Something that is a very toothsome large pasta noodle is best because this is a very rich sauce. It's obviously got heavy cream and butter in it. So let me go ahead and chop up my onion and garlic, and I'll be back when we start sauteing our vegetables. On my stovetop, I have 2 pots going. I have a very large pot that I use to boil my pasta in that I have filled about halfway-ish up with water, maybe a little bit less because this is a huge pot. And then I've got it on high, waiting for that to come to a boil because this is a very fast, quick, easy sauce. It'll be done probably at the right time-ish together. Then I have my other pot on a medium flame, and I tossed in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I have to use 2 tablespoons because I have stainless steel pots and pans, so things stick very easily. But if you have like a non-stick pan, you can feel free to use a little bit less oil. I also did want to mention, we do have 2 options here. So I'm going to be blending my sauce in an actual blender, but if you're going to be using a hand blender, like an immersion blender, just make sure you choose a pot that is deeper like this versus a skillet, because you don't want it to end up like all over your stove. So I'm going to go ahead and add a pinch, probably equivalent to a 1/4 teaspoon of salt into my onions, because as I always like to mention, adding salt to your onions while you are sauteing them or sweating them helps them release their moisture more quickly, which is very important. And then we are going to heavily salt our pasta water. And I would say I probably add about 2 teaspoons, and I know people add a lot more sometimes than that to their pasta water, but we are going to use this most likely, depending on the consistency of our sauce, to thin out our pasta sauce in the end, so I don't want it to be ridiculously salty because I am going to season this on the way up as we go through the recipe, and I don't want to add like a ladle full of pasta water and have it like blow the salt level out of the water. So we're just going to go ahead and let these go until they are translucent. I'm going to go ahead and mince up our garlic, and we'll toss that in for a minute before we add in our tomatoes. Alrighty, so I had my heat up a little bit too high because my onions are actually starting to caramelize a little bit, so I needed to like skip forward and start popping in our garlic because you don't want any sort of caramelization really on your onions for this sauce. So I've tossed in our garlic. I don't know if you can see it right there. And then in the palm of my hand, I have about 1.5 teaspoons of basil and about 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. And we're going to toss all of this in to the pot. And this is going to help A, take the raw garlic flavor off, and B, wake up the essential oils that are like inside of the dried herbs. So this is a step that is often skipped by a lot of people. And I'm not saying that if you add your dry spices later on, it's not going to taste good, but this definitely kicks the flavor up a notch, I would say. It really wakes up those spices. So I'm going to turn down the heat to low for a second because I need to open my cans of tomatoes before we dump them in, so sit tight. Okay, so I have added our can of diced tomatoes and our can of tomato sauce to the pot. And I'm just going to quickly sidetrack as to why these are not my favorite tomatoes. It has nothing to do with the quality of Aldi's food. I actually really like a lot of the stuff from there. I'm just super weird and like I don't like large chunks of canned tomatoes at all. Like whether it's in spaghetti sauce, pasta gravy, whatever you want to call it. Soups, stews, anything. I just don't like it. And I feel like these are also very solid. Like they're almost not completely ripe, which usually canned tomatoes are like the ones that are about to go off. Like they're very ripe. So whatever. Anyways, we are going to be blending this, so it really doesn't matter about the chunkiness. But I do prefer to use a petite diced tomato versus this large chunky crapola. So I've went ahead and raised the flame up just now to a medium heat again. I'm going to add another pinch of salt, which is probably not even 1/4 teaspoon, maybe like 1/8 teaspoon. Sometimes I will add red chili flake in the beginning when I'm sauteing the onions, but I'm not doing that today because I'm hoping the girls are going to eat this. So I don't want to have any kind of heat, but that is a delicious variation. And then we're just going to go ahead and raise the flame even further now that everything's incorporated because we are going to dry the crap out of this. Like we're basically going to boil it until almost all of the liquid burns off and you're left with a paste, because to that paste we will add our cream and our butter and we're going to blend it and it's going to be delicious and you're going to love it, I'm telling you. So also I did want to mention, like several of you have been mentioning in the comments like, hey, you should list the ingredients in the description box, or you should write it down. But quite frankly, I'm probably not going to do that because I am a wife and mother from the Midwest, as you know, and these are our real dinners that I'm cooking in real time, and I honestly just don't have time for that. And frankly, like I'm hoping, I mean, this channel is going way better than I had anticipated to begin with, but you never know, maybe in the future I'll have a cookbook. And if I ever do, like, I'm not going to be able to sell any cookbooks if I give you guys all of the exact measurements and tips and tricks completely on here, right? So maybe someday we'll have a cookbook that'll have, you know, all of the ingredients and their exact measurements listed, but I do try to be as accurate as possible for you guys and give you as many tips as possible while I'm cooking dinner, and I hope you enjoy it. So I hope that answers you guys' questions as to why I don't list the ingredients. Alright guys, let me just go ahead and let this come up to a raging boil, and I'll show you what it looks like as it's reducing, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it is ready. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is like a vicious boil. It has reduced as about half. This is not ready yet. I just wanted to give you an idea of like how I'm boiling it. Like when I say it's boiling, it's literally boiling. There's nothing simmering about this. You're going to have to stir it periodically because the edges will start to crust to the bottom. And you're not trying to burn anything. We're just trying to reduce it quickly. So I'm going to let this go for another couple of minutes and it should be ready. Our pasta water is now boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and drop about half of a box. So that's half of a pound of pasta, and you could probably sauce the entire box of pasta if you like your sauce to be like kind of stingy, but we're saucy people and I'm a saucy type of girl, and I prefer that the leftovers still have a little bit of like zhuzh to them and that they're not just dried out pasta, because it is a cream sauce, so it's not like adding water to it is gonna fix it really. Like, you want it to be able to still have some actual sauce left on the noodles. And that's it. So we're gonna let this come to a boil, do our pasta, and I'll be back when this is ready to add our cream. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like when it is ready to turn off the heat. It is basically a chunky paste of mess. So we're going to go ahead and add to this 1 tablespoon of good butter. And this doesn't do anything necessarily for the flavor. This just adds a nice shine to it and gives it a better mouthfeel. So like, as you can see, like right as we're mixing it in, like even the tomatoes get shiny. Go ahead and melt that in, and then it is very important that we have our heat off, because it's never happened to me before, but I've heard that you need to temper your cream as you're adding it into a sauce, or else you can curdle it. But I mean, I don't know, that's never actually happened to me. So we're just going to add in a little bit at a time and incorporate it. Usually I just use one of the smallest size packages of heavy whipping cream, and I think it's about a cup in there. I happen to have a big one, and I know that this is about 2 cups inside of this container. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep adding until I know half of it's gone. One second, Olivia, and I'll double check it. Jiggle it, and that's about halfway. Alright guys, I'm going to turn the heat back on for this, and I would say medium-low, and we're going to bring this back up to a simmer, and we're going to simmer this for about 5 minutes just so all the flavors can come together, and then we are going to blend it. So I'll be back when we're ready to blend our sauce. It's going to be kind of hard for me to show you the next step because it's going to be loud, so I just wanted to show you that I dumped my sauce, making sure to get all of the chunks into my blender. I did want to make mention that if you are using a blender that is not one like this that has a vented lid for when you're blending hot stuff, be extremely careful, because when you put that lid on and you blend it, it creates pressure inside of there, and like I've had the lid blow off on me before and got hot sauce all over me. Like, it's really painful. Just be very, very careful. So I mean, if you're a beginner, I do recommend using an immersion blender in the pot. I did also want to mention that I reserved some pasta water, which is like slightly bizarre colored because I use the same spoon to stir it. Like, it's not a big deal, guys. So that is some of our starchy pasta water, and then I drained off our pasta. So I'm going to blend our sauce, and then we'll get everything back together in the pot, and we're almost time to serve. All right, boys and girls, this is our finished sauce, and as you can see, it's creamy and thick, and it smells like garlic and tomatoes and basil and all that is right with the world on a cold fall day. So I'm just trying to scrape in some of this tomato stuff that's on the side. I will definitely be adding some additional pasta water to this because this turned out nice and thick this time. If you don't boil off as much of the liquid during that stage, it'll end up thinner. So it's just really like how much time and effort you put into that stage that results in the thickness of your sauce. So now I'm dumping in our pasta. I definitely cooked it al dente because I do like to simmer the pasta in the sauce to finish the cooking and make sure that What? You need a pee-pee? Of course you need a pee-pee. Alright guys, I'm just going to go ahead and let this come to a simmer for a minute so that way the pasta can mix with the sauce better. I'm sorry, I just got totally distracted and forgot what I was saying. We will be back when this is ready to serve. Or you know what? No, I'm definitely going to add a little bit of pasta water to this. I'll show you what the consistency is before I serve it, before we plate it up. So hold tight. Okay guys, I'm so sorry. I wanted to jump back on because I totally lost my train of thought, but I did add about half of that pasta water to here, and I wanted to show you the texture of the sauce. So it definitely, like when you go in there, it coats the back of a spoon. And I'm allowing the pasta sauce and the pasta noodles to simmer together for a minute so that way the sauce clings to the pasta noodles better. This is ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and plate it up and we'll be back with the taste test. All right, guys, because you got a noodle on it. This is our plated up pasta. As you can see, the sauce is clinging very nicely to the noodles. It is not sitting in a pile of soup. It is just a deliciously, perfectly sauced pile of noodles that I cannot wait to dive into. And then look how yellow that butter is from Aldi's. I mean, I'm telling you, it's very close to Kerrygold. But anyways, my husband isn't hungry right now, so I can't give you a taste test, but Miss Olivia has joined us. Do you like those noodles, babe?
I like the spoon.
You're licking the spoon? Is it good? Well, if that's not a seal of approval, I don't know what is, because that child doesn't like basically anything. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. If you liked this video, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up, and if you loved it, please consider subscribing to my channel. We are getting very close to our 1,000. So yummy, our 1,000 subscriber goal, and I really get super excited as I see our channel growing here. So also, if you really like this, just pop a comment, because this is like my most prized secretive recipe, and I am surprised I'm sharing it with y'all, so I would love to hear your thoughts on it. So thank you again so much for stopping by my kitchen, and have a great night.
Great night.
Say peace out.
Peace out.